Before trying to write our own functions, let us see how the control flows in a function. So every C program will have a main function. Main has two statements, let's say I1 and I2. Then it has a function called bubble. After bubble, it has, let's say, two more statements, ix and iy, and that's the end of main. Outside of main, I'm going to define my bubble function. And let's say bubble function has 4 instructions. So your code has two functions, main function and the bubble function. It doesn't matter how many functions you have, your code execution always starts with main. So number one is code execution. Okay. Once the main program starts, you enter the main block, execute all the instructions in the main block. So you're going to execute instructions I1 and I2. So number two is enter the main block, execute all the instructions. In this case, you're going to execute I1 and I2. When you're trying to execute the third instructions, you're making a call to the bubble function. So make a call to the bubble function or call the bubble function. Now here call is an important term. As soon as you make the call to the bubble function, your main program is halted and your control goes to the bubble function. So number 4 is main is temporarily suspended and control goes to bubble. As soon as control goes to bubble, you go into the bubble function block, execute all the instructions in bubble. So you execute IK, IL, IM and IN. So execute all instructions in bubble. Now there are no more statements to be executed in bubble, which means that bubble is ending. Now as soon as bubble is done, you go back to the main function from where you left off, which means you're going to go back to this one, ix here. So once bubble is done, okay, so basically you're going to go back to the place from where you left off before. Execute the remaining instructions in main. So execute ix and iy. So execute ix and iy and then exit the program. So this is how control flows in a function or in a program which contains functions. If you remember, you can replace bubble with your printf statement or your printf function. Now when you execute printf, that's an inbuilt library function. Your control is going to go to some printf function which is there in memory. It's going to execute all the instructions in printf, and once it is done, of course it is going to display that information on the console. Once it is done, it's going to go to the next statement after printf and starts execution. So there are two important concepts to remember here. The first one is the calling function, and the second one is the called function. So your main function is calling the bubble function. So your main is the calling function and bubble is the function that is being called. So that's the called function. These two are very important terms along with the word call.